Welcome everybody to another partner podcast with Phill de Cruz, your host. Today I've got a very special two lovely guests that I've been working with for this year. I'd love to introduce Jandre van der Berg from Aptus Business Solutions. This guy's been around the hood, and I'll make sure that he does an intro himself soon. And Singh from Sage. I love to have Sage, your first Sage guest on the podcast. And the first Sage VAR on the podcast too. So I'm very excited to have you both here. I'll start with you, Emily, ladies first. Please talk about yourself, your ventures, your ups, your downs, and what brought you today to be in this ERP space.
Oh, thanks, Phill. Also lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. So bit of an introduction on myself. I'm a pre-sales solutions consultant with Sage. I specifically work primarily with the Sage Intacct solution, which is our cloud-based ERP solution. So what brought me to ERP and what does my job entail? Look, it's really around understanding requirements of, customers who might come to us, business challenges, looking to maybe modernize their tech stack, things like that. So it's really my job to understand the requirements, how all the bits and pieces would come together, present that back to them if we continue the journey and find a really good solution for them. I'm also an accountant by trade. So I'm a CPA and I segued to tech. I think it's a fairly well-trodden path, actually. I segued into tech from an accounting foundation. And I think just that finance background, all of that just really aids the kinds of conversations I'm having. So
that's so good. That's excellent to hear. Yes, just for the viewers, she's not going to do your tax return for you. Although maybe, if you buy Intacct, maybe she would. So just to
give it a crack. Yeah.
Give it a crack. And Jandre, please explain your magnificent career.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, Phill. Really appreciate the time. So I'm Janndre. I think the humble beginnings started at Sage a little over a decade ago. I started off as a training telesales person, so selling training manuals, etc., to all people that needs some more training on their solutions. And from there on in, I had a lot of great leaders within the organization who pivoted me into going into sales from a software perspective. And that's where it started in Africa, on all different Sage solutions within South Africa and the rest of Africa as well. And then moved over to the Sage Intacct role, and then moved from South Africa to Australia, and here I am at Aptus, providing still the same solutions such as Sage Intacct, etc., to customers in Australia.
Yeah, perfect. I didn't realize when I got into this world how big Sage was. When I started seeing, oh my God, they've got APAC, they've got South Africa, they've got all the Europe, and then they've got North America. I'm like, you guys are quite big, Emily. So it's
we are. I love it, and I love that feeling, Phill, because we are globally we're such a big company, right? But here, boots on the ground. I'm based in the Sydney office. We're still a fairly kind of small and intimate team, so we kind of get the best of both worlds, which is really nice.
That's good. All right, let's get into some questions. I'm going to throw the first one at you, Emily, and it's quite interesting, a lot of these questions, but let's see how you handle them. So I guess the first one here is, how is technology shaping Sage today, and how will it drive your vision for the future?
That is a very, very loaded question, Phill, because we are a tech company. So Sage absolutely priding itself on its position in the tech world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm about to say. I'm about to travel down the path of AI and kind of the future of that. So AI is absolutely shaping what we do, kind of keeping pace with organizations around us. Similar cohorts is really important to us. That, globally, we're investing a lot in driving kind of our capability in the AI space. So that is absolutely shaping what we do, not only internally for our own processes, but bringing that to our customers as well. So we've got a whole team building out our AI agent capability throughout the suite of Sage products, which is pretty exciting. And that will really shape our vision, not like for now, and it's evolving so quickly, down into the future as well. So it's exciting times, actually.
It's very exciting. Is there one specific AI tool that you just can't live without now?
Oh
that
my
you're
God.
on every day?
It's like the lowest hanging fruit, right? But it's just these like chatbot engines, or like the co-pilot style assistant. It's like my little brain's trust. I validate, just my thought process with things like that. It's just so quick and easy at your fingertips. I'm using it every day. Absolutely.
I give you a nice little trick one. I don't know if you heard of a tool called Nano Banana, but if you ever have a chance, jump on that, upload a photo of yourself, and you can make almost not there yet of motion pictures of yourself in movies. But just to say, there is Tom Cruise's brother, Philip the Cruise, and I've done a lot of stunts, and it looks quite good. It looks quite good, so definitely have a look.
I am going to. That actually sounds like lots of fun. I could lose a lot of time doing that. Yeah.
All right. I would love to get your take on these two questions together. I'll start with you, Jandre, but can you share any innovative solutions or strategies that you plan to bring customers through this collaboration that we currently have, this kind of love triangle of us three together?
Yeah, and what a great question. So, through connections, mobility, and, the compliance expertise, then the combination with Sage Intacct and us as a partner of Sage Intacct as well, and Kynection, I think what the innovative solution that really brings into practice is that end-to-end digital workflows. So that means, linking any of the operational data that sits in Kynection directly into Sage Intacct for that real-time financial insights that organizations can make use of to be more proactive. And I think, that advanced analytics side of things, where we can now start to leverage then those dashboards and predictive tools for that proactive decision making. So yeah, I think that's what kind of the solutions bring together.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to have my own little Sage Intacct demo database, and I love that just that initial dashboard of the widgets and that kind of green is good, red is bad. It's just so clear, and I can, if I'm the CFO, I can just go have my own little dashboard and how my view looks there. If I'm a finance controller, I've got my own different widgets. I love that kind of ability to have different viewable roles in Sage, which is great. Please add to that, Emily, if you can.
Yeah, no, I think good question, and it really shows how we all come together and the value that we add for each other as well as our kind of customers as they come on board. So it's really all about that best of breed approach. We all know what we do well, what we specialize in, and being able to kind of work together to bring, the best of us and the best of you, the best of Aptus together. I think it's just ideal for our customers. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I think this follows to another question that I love having here, which is, how will your solutions combination with Sage Intacct specific challenges, solve specific challenges our customers face? And let's pick an industry that I guess we both work in quite well, which you can choose either civil or field services. I find those two, I see a lot of challenges in that space. Let's probably work on field services, but I'd love to get your intakes on that, of what specific challenges that the customers are facing. One you've just already addressed, which is kind of that WIP, that work in progress, how that's going. Is there any other further challenges you could think of?
I might jump in, Jandre. I'll jump in first. So you know what, I just see, obviously everyone's challenges are unique, but there's just so much that unifies as well. And just what I see regularly in conversation are just and sounds generic from the outset, but manual process, right? But what does that mean? That's like just using spreadsheets to kind of track stuff, pulling stuff together, having static data or siloed data. That's fairly unique. That's fairly common ground across those particular industries. So that's really the idea with integrating systems like ours and moving to kind of cloud-based ERP is giving them integration capability, single source of truth, but then just having all that data sit together so you can get that insight and visibility across it.
Jandre?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, what we see, some of the common challenges was that disconnected systems. I think, a lot of organizations come from disconnected systems where, yes, which Emily stated really, really greatly is, that manual processes. So when we integrate those, operational and financial platforms together, we eliminate that let's call it the double entry. And it can help us in a lot of areas where it's, reporting and auditability and reducing that risk that may come in the organization. And I think it also brings then that let's call it the cash flow visibility, where those real-time dashboards gives the leaders the clarity and on profitability on a job and the performance of a specific job in the field, and so forth. So especially the disconnected systems, we see that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time I see a client, when they come book a demo with myself in Kynection, the first question I ask, do you have mess? And they're like, what's mess? Many Excel spreadsheets. That's a terminology I want to push. So if you've got mess, you're in the right. You should be listening to this podcast and come see us, because I see that a lot. And that's
the first time I've heard that. I like it, Phill. I might have to use that.
You're going to use it. Mess. You got mess? All right. You got to come talk to me. And it's such crucial. I've seen it over the last 3 years of Kynection. I've seen the same story over and over and over. And it's not just, one of the great things that I've noticed what Kynection is doing, it's just capturing the data in the field and putting into the office. That's primarily focus, all right? But there's so many areas of field data you capture. You capture time and attendance, you capture material consumption, you're capturing equipment utilization, you're capturing the GPS telematics that you want to pull through as well. So there is so much areas, and having that, just that integration of everything talking to each other is huge. I've just seen ROI just from that one piece alone, which is great. I love it.
Agree. And just also Phill, having that blend of operational data and financial data as well. It just adds more context to your financial data when you can start, bringing in other elements, and you
can forecast. You can see if you're going to make money this year, what's going on. When you're ready to buy another asset, when you're ready to sell an asset, are you ready to get a new employee because you can see the work that's going to be coming in? It's just very phenomenal metrics you need. Now, this is a big one. Change management is something that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And there's always organizations that are very resistant to this. It's always, I've had this mindset. I've already done it. I always do it my way. How you can change that? I get that question a lot. Love to see how you guys tackle that issue, because it comes up in probably in every webinar, change management. Who would like to take this one? Who's on deck for the first one?
I don't want to go first on that one. I think approaches, first and foremost, education and transparency. So I think we start by showing those tangible benefits, whether it's better visibility, is it compliance and scalability, etc. But I think a real critical element of everything is that stakeholder engagement. It's not just, the top leaders that makes the decision that should be involved. Every single person involved in the process, whether it's an AP person, they need to be involved really early so that we can map all that areas out and ensure that they're comfortable of where we're going to. And I think another great thing and strategy is going the if we could call it the phased approach, and it might not be phased, but it's just breaking the transition into manageable steps, so the teams can see those quick wins instead of reorganizing their whole life with overwhelming change. So just making those smaller steps into the right direction.
Agree, Emily.
Yes, I think this is really common. Not every conversation we come up, we have some kind of change management concerns, but it's fairly common. And I think, that is one of the challenges of our jobs, right? It's to be able to justify or highlight and articulate the value that they're going to see really early on, when it's still just a concept or we're still in the demo phase, because you have many different stakeholders in the demo. Sometimes they do bring lots of colleagues on the journey with them, and in some ways that can be more challenging because everyone's got different skin in the game, so you've got to kind of justify the value that different stakeholders will see, and get their understanding of that, which can actually be really challenging. So I think being able to articulate that is early on in the piece is really important. And then I totally agree with Jandre. It's about giving them the tools they need, or giving them comfort that they will have the tools they need to upskill and learn in the job. So, whether that's training resources, whether that's like sessions, recordings, material, really role-based content is really useful as well. So I think that's an important help.
It's very tough because dealing in that blue collar sector, we're not dealing with white collar they've got the digital maturity at a level where it's easy to pick up a new software. So it is a balance of how can we educate these blokes and these women on the ground that are, building trenches and building roads and asphalting and all that. It's quite a challenge, because what I see in organizations, either an organization that's all paper and you haven't really been on the cloud, or you're an organization that has been on the cloud, but you've got 6 different systems and they've gone through so much training and so many different softwares. Now you bring a new one, they're like, oh no, already a negative is in the room. Like, I know another thing I need to train it. So that's why it was very important when we started our journey connection. Let's make it a mobile first application, very user friendly, big buttons, very easy to do. Bring those operational managers into the meeting and get their take on it. Get them to test it. Give me your dinosaur in your organization that's very resistant technology, and let me see if I can migrate them across. If I can convert the most resilient person, that's already a win. So, and we do that stage approach. Let's get them just utilizing pre-start checklists. Once they're happy doing that, let's see if they can raise leave easy in connection. Let's see if they can do timesheets. All right, that's quite easy. Let's give them a bit more responsibility once they've got the hang of that. Compliance forms, job dockets, and so on. So stage approach is quite useful. And then, as you said, on-site training, video online training, the video documentation, all useful. Everyone learns different. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I need to get in there and try to break it before I can actually learn something. So yeah, we all have different views on that, which is great. Alrighty. Okay. Here's an interesting question. So, channel partners like yourself, Aptus, and Sage, that want to build value around the Sage platforms. What kind of services, industry specifications, and delivery models do you see the highest growth in? Yeah, quite interesting, that one. Yeah,
that's a good question, because that sets the ground of going forward. So I think vertical expertise. So not being all over the place. Focus on that particular sector that you're really well in, whether it's professional services or field services, etc., or whether you're in construction. If you're really doing well in that vertical, kind of stay in those growth areas for yourself. I think ongoing optimization and support beyond the implementation. I think there's always room for growth in those areas beyond the implementation, and how we service our customers after the go live. And yeah, I think some of the other delivery models you can see would maybe be something like a data-driven advisory. So partners who can interpret, financial data or, guide strategic decisions with their customers. I think that could also make someone stand out.
Okay. Emily?
Yeah, I probably would echo what Jandre said is around the verticalization approach. Obviously, that's, we rely heavily on our partners, their own entrepreneurial spirits and their own, knowledge in their verticals really drives, the best outcomes for our joint customers, right? So I think verticalizing and specializing gets really great results. What I see work well in conversations I have as well is, that managed services piece around like ongoing health checks, just ongoing, relationships. And I think that's going to become more prevalent given the pace of change of tech as it's coming down the pipe these days. So yeah, keeping that relationship close and tight. I think that's important.
Yeah, excellent answers. Now, what I've noticed when I've been doing this podcast series, I think this is probably our, 9th or 10th one at Kynection. I've had demos booked directly off podcasts. Believe it or not, they've gone, hey, and the first question I always ask when someone books a time with me, I say, where did you hear from us? Did you hear us from a channel partner? Did you hear us from the Sage Marketplace? Because I want to reward commission to the people that referred us. And funny enough, I had this demonstration booked in, and it was a person that said, I listened to your podcast and it resonated to exactly what I'm doing now. So this kind of segues to my next question around real life case studies and real life examples and scenarios that you've seen benefit using the Sage Intacct platform and how they've outcome. So the question, I'd love for each one of you, because 2 is better than 1, we all know that, it's for maybe talk about an actual customer that you've helped in the past and a scenario that a problem, solution, conclusion is essentially what I would like. So who wants to do the first case study story scenario?
Give that one to Emily first, and then I've got to flip up the script a little bit.
Thanks, Jandre. Okay, so I actually have a few in mind, but I'm going to go in. So to give everyone a bit of context, I guess my conversation with prospective customers comes pretty early on in the piece, when they're outlining the challenges and their problem they're having. And absolutely, the story I have in mind in this case is around a customer who came to us with what I mentioned earlier, really siloed systems. So separate solutions, field services, or boots on the ground staff were managing things through paper. Absolutely, paper based. They actually had something like a whiteboard system to go ahead and kind of assign, jobs and tasks and things like that. So they were managing things very manually, and then a lot of the work, or a lot of the heavy lifting, falls on the finance team, right, to take that from a paper-based system and get, invoice data, AP data, all of that into the accounting system manually. So the challenge really was initially just how can we kind of automate that process? Like, what can we import? Can we put this in a spreadsheet and import it? I think might have been the first question there. I thought we can do you one better. So we go down the path of introducing applications on, for boots on the ground staff, having that integrated through to the finance system. So then the role of the finance team, or project managers, job managers, it's not so much a data entry piece. It's a piece of reviewing, having outliers really highlighted for you, data entry being done on the AP side, certainly. So it's really just a matter of then reviewing data, highlighting anomalies, rejecting or approving from there, and then post straight through. So from a finance perspective, you can just imagine the time saving, right? And then the idea with the system is, as you get more comfortable with it, you have more comfort in what the system's pulling through automatically. So even your checking and your revision gets a little, you speed up on that as well. So
do you think you'll be able to have a metric? Do you think you'll be able to share a metric, or maybe some sort of cost savings, like an actual figure?
I don't have a figure off the top of my head. I'm sorry, Phill. I might have to go and check my notes on that. But yeah, absolutely. We have like a whole range of published case studies. I'd be really happy to, direct any of your listeners to, because we can quantify. And that goes back to what I said before about being able to quantify and show the value early on in the piece of time saving, especially around the AP piece. Got some pretty cool calculators there where you can calc how much time you spend on it now versus adding automation to that. It'll actually calc for you dollar figure return on a solution like that. So it's pretty cool.
I like that. That's excellent. Jandre, can you top that story, or do you just copy and paste?
No, I won't. It's probably going to be a copy and paste. No, I'm just kidding. So Yeah, I think one example we have was also again a professional services and kind of rental organization that transitioned from manual invoicing and that MES platform that you so famously spoke about, that multiple Excel spreadsheets, so those fragmented spreadsheets moved over to Sage Intacct. And what that kind of did for them is to be able to get the profitability insights. I think first and foremost across those rental assets and service teams, etc. So those insights came into dashboards and all those kind of things for the leadership team to understand what's happening in the field, and how we're dealing with our customers. What it also did was enable the company to shift from that reactive billing. So what they used to do was they go into the field if they had to produce an additional part or whatever. They have to send it back to the finance office team to send out a quotation and so forth, where it was more now to improving that process of being proactive and saying, well, while we're there on the spot, let's do this. Can we proceed with the job, etc. So being more proactive, so a bit more of a subscription-based model. And then in terms of opening up, I wouldn't say it opened up for new revenue streams or something like that, but it did allow them to start bundling. When they look at the data, that started to allow them to bundle the rental and service offering into managed packages. So the whole way of their business model, just to add additional streams into their organization and how they deal with their customers going forward. I think that was a real eye opener. And also another one, subscription organizations, just those manual invoicing, the recognition of revenue, all those kind of things. Sage Intacct really deals well with those scenarios. And we actually have another customer success story with regards to how they were so reactive in manual processes in having to invoice out the subscription contracts, where it started to automate that process and being able to manage that.
Now they're big wins, absolutely big wins. I find a great metric that I've seen, particularly when I've seen organizations where they've got 3 employees and all they're doing is manual data entry. Now I look at that and you just say they're $70,000 an employee. That's $210,000 a year just on manual entry. Now, if you can get a system that's under $100,000, that can kind of replace all that because it's all automation. Yes, those 3 are really out of jobs, but essentially you just reskill them to another department, and that's a saving right there of $210,000 almost. Yeah. So that's how I kind of look at it. What is the time that you're spending on admin of manually entering data? There's your ROI. That's good. Yeah. Now, this question is specifically for you, Jandre, and then I've got another one for you, Emily. I haven't forgot about you. That's okay. But 3 common mistakes that organizations make when implementing a new ERP.
Where to start? I think, I guess what we spoke about earlier, I think underestimating the change management. So I think a lot of organizations say, yeah, let's just change and let's just move. That change management component is really critical. So how we mitigate some of those risks are, providing that structured training and stakeholder engagement to ensure that, we are there with you through the whole process and not just providing a new solution and there you go. Let's play the Hunger Games. I think poor data quality as well. So a lot of organizations, as you know, has got multiple data sets, data in many areas within their organization. And with those manual processes, there's going to be issues or mistakes made in those spreadsheets, which brings us to poor data quality. And what we do as Aptus is we do run those pre-migration type of audits and cleansing before we actually go into the solution and start building, etc. So that's a really critical element to ensure the data quality is correct. When
do you offer
putting
that
it
service to cleanse, or do you try to rely on the customer to do their own cleansing of it?
The customer will be doing the cleansing. However, we provide structured methodologies throughout the process, and we're part of the process, so that it's not just, hey, here's a template, fill it in, and let's move on. We kind of go through it with you. This is what we're looking for. Look out for these things. If there's going to be errors within this process, how do we resolve them together, etc. So yes, we do go through the process, but it's the onus is always going to be on the customer to ensure that they work their own data.
Which is tough. Yeah.
Sometimes it can be tough. Yeah. And I think, the last one maybe would be, I guess, lack of clear objectives of why we're doing this project in the first place. If we're just changing for the sake of changing, we don't have any strategy behind it. We don't have any measurable outcomes of what we want to achieve. Do we want to improve processes? Are we lacking in something in IP, for instance? Too many repetitive tasks. That's what we're trying to solve at the end of the day. We define those measurable outcomes with the customer upfront, and then keep the project aligned until the end. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
because that's exactly what we kind of need to do as consultants. At the end of the day, it's co-creating the vision and building the business case of why they should need something like this. And if there's no reason for them to have something like Connection Intacct, then we don't actually fit. So it's good to get that on the ground. Do you want to add one, Emily? Do you want to add one that you've seen in the Sage world?
Yeah, look, I think probably what I would see, actually, it's just maybe alignment in their own teams of what they're looking for and what they're trying to achieve. So I think you need that alignment early on in the piece, or you just need those kind of key stakeholders who have a clear vision. I think it's about having a clear vision, because it's through the decision-making process of, okay, which solution are we going to go with? But obviously that trails into the implementation side as well, right? So if they get that clarity and alignment through the decision-making process, to Jandre's point, they actually know the outcomes they're trying to achieve, or, we've articulated that well enough that they know that the outcomes that they will achieve. So I think then on the implementation side, they're much clearer in what they're working towards.
Excellent. Perfect. Now, this is an interesting question. Now, we specifically only work in that dangerous and dirty sector. Construction, that's our jam. Sage actually do a bit of everything. They got the non-profit space, they work in retail, they do government, they do a lot of kind of stuff. This question kind of tailors, how does Sage tailor their offering different to, rather than their professional services or retail? So
yes, that's a great question, and you're right. We do work across a variety of really service-based. In my role as well, particularly with Sage Intacct, it's really those service-based businesses. But yes, that certainly includes the dangerous and dirty sectors. But there's a lot of others that fall under that banner too. And I think the way we tailor it is really through that best of breed approach, right? As I said earlier, we know what we do well. We are an ERP system, but strength really lies in that accounting and finance function. Really powerful project or like cost accounting functionality as well that sits in with that. Then integrating with the likes of yourselves, Connection, and other solution partners who really can provide that vertical specific solution and meet the needs of specific customers.
Excellent. Good. That's good. Alrighty. I've got maybe we can do one more before we go, because I know we're a little bit over 30 minutes, but I'll do one more and I'll just try to find a very interesting one. So, question to both of you. 5-year plan. Where do you see the market going? Are we all just going to be replaced by Optimus Prime robots, and then we're not going to need people like us? Is sales going to be an industry that gets replaced by AI? Consulting? I can't see that happening because just the relationship of rapport building is quite strong, and I don't know if Roper can do that. But let's get your take on this question, Jandre. Let's go for you first, Mr. South Africa.
Yeah, it's a really interesting take on trying to answer that question, because it's like, where are you going to be in 5 years with AI taking over the world? But yeah, I think, you know, that human interaction. I mean, AI is really going to be that critical component, but how you use AI in your day to day and in your organization's really going to really define how we go forward. So yeah, our plan's always going to be that human centric and human people first element, being that yes, AI can automate processes and so forth, but it's really that relationship building, and I'd see the empathy, the support in the success of other organizations that really makes us successful at the end of the day. So I think from that approach, that's still the approach that we'll take as Aptus, being a human first organization to kind of solve problems of people, because we know at the end people still do the jobs, people still make the decisions, and that all these elements still keeps people up at night. So the common theme is still going to stay people. But yes, I do see that, you know, that AI is going to bring in a whole lot of enhancements, but it shouldn't be seen as a threat. It should be as let's call it those bumper rails to help and guide you and steer you in the right direction. I think that's kind of my take in it. What's in it for us in the next 5 years.
Now, Sage had a massive conference in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago, Sage Future. And unfortunately, I don't get paid enough to go down there myself to mingle with those partners, which I wish I could. Hopefully, I can come to the next one. And I'm not sure if you went, Emily, but was there anything shared during that conference of what is Sage doing in the next 5 years? Because, again, Aptus relies on what they're doing in order to improve their offering. So do you have any insights that you can share?
Yes, so I didn't make it to Barcelona either, unfortunately, Phill. Very sad that I didn't get there, but absolutely there was. So a lot of the talk obviously was around AI, right? But it's really about the next phase of AI, which is the agentic approach. And agentic AI is going to bring us, I guess at the moment, it's AI is you know, doing those kind of automated tasks. We're kind of setting the boundaries, or we're setting the rules around those automated tasks that it will perform for us. Well, as we go down this agentic path, it become to the point where it's got the intelligence to start anticipating what's required of it, and being able to kind of add, I guess, the thought process to the task, like if this then that type of logic. So Sage, from our side, is investing heavily, obviously, in the agentic capability. So for the business perspective, I'm just expecting to see a lot more coming through at quite a rapid pace, actually. Those kind of processes. So if we're thinking of things like, just a bit of an example, like close, like just doing your month-end close, right? So having kind of an automated workflow style approach to your automated close, like it'll like look to close AP, it's going to let you know what's out of whack, and it'll run the report because it knows you have to do a variance analysis, right? So just all those kind of things that will just be performing. So that's what is coming down our pipe fairly soon, actually. Longer term than that, I think the world is our oyster. I think it's exciting times. I don't think it's something to be worried about, but I think it's something to be excited about, because we've got so much coming, and yes, there'll be change with that, but I think it's improvement on current manual process. So much the same way we probably look back at, how we used to do things, pen and paper. I remember preparing audit files in a binder book, and I literally wrote with a pen, the reference point to reference back to my paper documents. And, I was probably a bit nervous at that time of having like an online worksheet style approach that I'm like, where's all my time going to go when I'm not, stapling and photocopying bundles of paper? So I think it's just going to be change for the good. But couldn't tell you exactly where we'll be in 5 years. Be good to look
Oh,
back
that's
at this
exciting.
day.
That's exciting. Well, you heard it here first. Sage is going to
Yeah.
reveal Agentic AI by the end of Christmas, which is great. Sage is great. So that's really good stuff. That is awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future and where it brings and how you stack up against the other ERPs as well. I think it's. I'm glad to be on part of this journey with Sage and being listed on the marketplace and see how I can put my bid in to help Sage grow in Australia and get it across the states. So I'm looking forward to it. And I guess I am very appreciative for both of you guys for coming in and your time. And I know you guys are very busy, but to share your thoughts and your insights and some interesting questions. But I can't thank you enough. Thank you again. I want to do this again and again. So hopefully we can do it again another time. Let's get a couple more wins across the line and maybe we can bring in a real live customer. That will be the idea one day. But thank you. Do you guys have any, do you want to do a plug-in of your Facebook page or anything? You're welcome to.
Yeah, okay. My details are on the screen. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. That's it. I'd love to chat.
That's perfect. All right. Thank you, Jandre. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks,
you for your
everyone.
time. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Bye.